What is up, PMP? Zell here, and today I have an underused battle. This one is against the Poke guy, Jesus. And looking at his team, the Rotom H is going to be a bit of a problem because it's likely Scarfed, and it can hit my special wall with its stab, Volt Switch or Thunderbolt. Other than that, Mew might be a little hard to get around, but I'm not too worried. So I'm going to do it with my Arcanine because I figure he's probably going to be not too useful because he does have a Rhyperior and a Hitmontop, which is probably defensive, and the Rotom, and so none of them really take a whole lot of damage from much what I do. Plus he's got the Mew, which probably has recovery, so I figure just lead with it. Volt Switch here is pretty obvious, so I'm just going to go ahead and take it. Expect him to want to probably go into his Hitmontop. I thought maybe Rhyperior, but Hitmontop's probably the more likely option, and that's what he goes into. He does hit with the Intimidate, but the Flare Blitz is going to smack him for almost half, which is pretty impressive considering I'm Life Orbed and not Choice Banded. Here the switch back to Rotom H or Rhyperior is pretty obvious, but I'm just going to go for Flare Blitz again just in case he wants to stay in and hit me with a close combat. Because, he knows he can take another one and can kill me with close combat pretty easily. So I'm just going to go for Flare Blitz, and he does switch into his Rotom, but, that still does a nice amount considering I'm -1 and he does resist it. So here I'm going to go for the Extreme Speed, just figure last-ditch effort, see what he goes into on the Volt Switch, and maybe, hey, he'll overprotect and go for the Overheat, and that won't do anything. But I am going to get the crit, which means I blast through that -1 and take him out. Which is unfortunate. But I figure Arcanine can still be of use because he does have the priority, so maybe I can hit the Mew or something. I don't know. I figure just save it for now. If it gets Stealth Rocks up, not a big deal. I can spin the way with my Hitmontop as I go into it because it counters Hitmontop. And the Sucker Punch is fairly obvious, so it's not going to do anything on the switch, and he really can't do a whole lot to me. I'm going to go for the Stone Edge, predicting him to go into either his Mew or his Crobat, both of which would be a fighting resist, but he's actually going to stay in and hit me with a Toxic, which is kind of unfortunate, but I don't really mind it too much. So, I'm going to go for the Stone Edge again. I thought about going for close combat, but I figured now he's going to switch into a fighting resist, and that is exactly what he's going to go to. He's going to bring in Mew, and the Stone Edge is going to hit him. It's really not going to do a whole lot of damage, so I'm like, is this thing, really defensive? I mean, I know it's not stab, but that's not a lot of damage. But it turns out he's not, as I go into Melodic. I figure, probably going to have Psychic and, maybe Stealth Rocks and Status and stuff like that. But he goes for the Sword Stance, and I'm like, crap, this is my specially defensive Melodic, and Melodic's base defense is 50-something, so I am not going to be taking this hit well. But I figure I can get off a Dragon Tail and force him out, right? But he's going to flinch me, and I'm like, fuck. So, Melodic's useless. I mean, his only real special attacker is already dead, and I can't really wall Empoleon too much at this HP, especially since you'll see later why. But he's going to go for the Drain Punch to recover a little bit of HP. I figure at this point his last move is probably Sucker Punch, just for the priority, and it's a decent coverage when put on top of a ghost, for a ghost Pokemon that is immune to the fighting attack. But I'm going to switch out, go into my Grotle, because he's really the only thing that can take it, as he is going to switch out to his Crobat. I'm going to switch to my Togekiss, and he's going to go with the Nasty Plot. He's going to switch out here, fearing, I guess, the especially defensive wall with Thunder Wave, because that is a pretty popular Togekiss set, but I'm going to Nasty Plot myself. I know I can take whatever hit he wants to go for, because I do have that great natural special bulk, but, yeah, he's going to switch to Rhyperior for the Thunder Wave, and then I'm just going to go for the Aura Sphere here. He knows he can't take it. It's going to be a definite OHKO, even if he has max HP. I mean, he could have special defense investment, but that would be weird. So he switches back to Crobat. He's going to go for the Nasty Plot. I really don't know why. I guess he knew he couldn't do all that much damage. But I missed my Air Slash, which kind of sucked, because if I had hit it, I would have easily taken him out. I'd be still at full HP. The only thing that can outspeed me is Mew, and get off a Zen Headbutt. That'd do about half. I'd kill him with Air Slash pretty easily, does about 80%, and then the rest of his team I can OHKO with Air Slash or Aura Sphere. But because I miss, and because he gets that +2 Sludge Bomb off, he can bring his Mew in, outspeed me easily, hit me with a Zen Headbutt, or even a Drain Punch probably would have killed me. And there goes my Togekiss. So, I guess payback, if you want to call it that, for the crit. But I'll take it. That's fine. I'm going to go to my Grotle here because he's my physical wall, and he can tank Mew pretty much all day. as long as he doesn't get like +6 up. But that's fine. I'm going to go for the Seed Bomb because last time I went for the Toxic and he switched out fearing the Toxic. And it hits Empoleon for a decent amount of damage. But I'm going to switch out and go into my Hitmontop because I figure he'll probably want to either Toxic or Ice Beam, or maybe set up rocks as he does. At this point, I figure I don't want to Rapid Spin because I don't really care about rocks too much, and he's probably going to get his Rhyperior in, and I don't want to let that in for free because if he's like Rock Polish, I'm kind of in trouble. So, yeah, I'm just going to go for the close combat. I figure I outspeed Empoleon anyways, and I can do a lot of damage, and yeah, that's not really a big deal. So he does switch to Rhyperior as I thought, and that's close combat. It's going to do quite a bit, which is nice, but I don't want to stay in here because I have the defense drop and he doesn't have the attack drop for my Intimidate. So I'm going to switch out to Grotle because Earthquake is pretty much the most obvious attack, and he is going to take that Earthquake very well. I wasn't sure at the time because this attack does quite low damage, but upon review he has to be Choice Banded for it to do that much based on my max defense and a Violate. So I could have went for the Stealth Rocks on the Switch, but I did just go for the Seed Bomb just in case. I figure I want to do as much damage. If he does hit me with Mega Horn, if he was Jolly Life Orb, he wouldn't be able to kill me, but he's obviously not Life Orb because he didn't see the recoil. But yeah, so I went for the Seed Bomb, didn't really do a whole heck of a lot. Here, I see the Toxic is coming, so I'm going to switch out of my Machamp, which is not your usual Machamp. It's not, the slow, max HP, max attack, no guard Machamp. It's actually a Guts Machamp, and I take advantage of that Toxic, get my boost, and hit people with close combat. So, yeah, it ends up working great here because that attack boost lets me easily take out the Hitmontop, even though he has the max defense and HP. Some of you may be thinking, why don't I just use Heracross? But the problem is that Heracross is so well known as a Guts user, so people are more cautious about throwing out status, whereas with Machamp, not really, because they think it's going to be no guard. So they, they'll throw out a Will-O-Wisp against me, and then I hit them even harder because of Guts. So it's a little niche set, and it kind of works. So here I switch out. I could potentially KO him with a close combat, but I don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to switch out to Grotle. I take the Zen Headbutt pretty well. I know I can take another one, so I'm going to go for the Synthesis as he switches out into his Empoleon. I'm not worried about the Ice Beam anymore. I just want a safe switch in, basically, to Machamp. I'm like, Grotle, you know what, get Stealth Rocks up, because Mew is really the only thing hindering me, but he's not even that big of a deal. I just want to wear him down, so Stealth Rocks are going to be important, and his Hitmontop is finally gone, so I don't have to worry about him rapid spinning. So go for the Stealth Rocks. He burns me on the first Scald, which is a little unfortunate. Here he shows Grass Knot, which is why I said earlier that Melodic being alive wouldn't have mattered, because he would just hit me with a Grass Knot. I would be able to recover first because I'm faster, but not a big deal. But yeah, so I just keep going with the Seed Bombs. I have nothing else to do. I could recover and all that stuff, but honestly, I'm, like I said, just want to save switching. But he ends up going for the Roar and blowing me right into Machamp anyways, which is perfect. And I'll take that all day long because, yeah, I can take out anything with a close combat at this point. And that's what I'm going to do. He's going to leave in his Empoleon because he figures no point in switching it out. He doesn't want anything else to take a close combat. So, yeah, that's what's going to happen. He's going to bring in his Mew as a response. As I said earlier, I figure Sucker Punch is coming. And with the defense drop, I know it won't do that much. But I don't want to risk it. Plus, he could get a crit, and I would definitely lose if that happens. So I'm going to be safe, switch out, let him wear himself down a little bit more with, Life Orb. Maybe he'll even die to the recoil, and if he switches out Stealth Rocks and stuff like that. But he just goes to the Zen Headbutt. It hits my Grotle, which, I was foddering out anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And now I'm going to go to my Hitmontop. The Intimidate and the Max Defense and the fact that he has no boosts is going to let me most likely survive a Zen Headbutt. He's going to switch out, fearing probably the Sucker Punch, and go into his Rhyperior. But I'm just going to go for the close combat because, again, as I said, even if he doesn't, if he does kill me, it's not a worry. And I'll show you why later. So, close combat does a lot, but I'm worried about him being, fast. If he's max speed, he can outspeed me. Even if I think he's adamant, he can outspeed me still. So I'm going to switch out to my Arcanine, let it die, reset my defense drop, get the Intimidate back, and that'll be perfect. So that's what I'm going to do. And he's going to go for the Earthquake. And that's obviously going to do nothing because my Pokemon is dead. Send back and hit him on top. Intimidate and Close Combat, which actually goes first. So that means that he's like definitely max HP, max attack. And, well, I mean, he could have some speed investment. But there's really no point if you don't have... Like, the only Rhyperiors that have speed investment are basically Rock Polish. And he's Choice Banded, so he doesn't have Rock Polish. But yeah, so now Mew's his last. I'm like, he's at really low HP. I think he might die to Rocks and Life Orb. So, Rocks brings him down pretty low. He is going to hit with his Zen Headbutt. I don't go for the Sucker Punch because I don't actually have it, nor do I have the Mach Punch. So, if you're wondering why I didn't, that's why. But yeah, he actually lives at just a little bit of HP. And that's bad, right? But either way, Self-KO Claws, I win. But my Machamp is Scarfed and I outspeed him. Hit him with a Close Combat. And that's the end of the battle. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Scarf Guts Machamp, getting some KOs. I could have potentially done a little bit more of a sweep, because after I looked at it, the Sucker Punch from Mew would only do like 60 to 70 damage, so even with 2 defense drops, I would have still lived it at the HP I was at, and I only had 1. So I could have stayed in, but I mean, being cautious is always better when you can, and I could, and I ended up winning. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a fun match. I had a lot of fun. And I'll see you guys next time.